I think I found out about Burning Man way back when the Wired article happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you backburned it for quite a while.
For a long time. I was like still in high school, I want to say, when I found out about it. And it always was one of those things that was out of reach where I just was like, that's something that would be cool to go to, but I'd never go there. It's not something I could do, like climbing Mount Everest or something like that, you know?
You need to maybe kill a Sherpa.
Exactly.
And leave all of your shit behind.
How do I join a camp? You kill a Sherpa.
That's dark. Okay, we'll cut that. Well, we'll cut before.
No.
That's accurate.
We absolutely need to leave the bit about killing a Sherpa and leaving your shit behind, because
all right.
That's part of both events.
It's fine. I've been outvoted.
So when I was actually in college, my dad got it in his head that Burning Man was quote unquote steampunk art festival and was really into steampunk at the time. And he's like, I want to go. Mm-hmm. And
it was for a couple years. We got fashion.
It is still in part. There is
in part
a steampunk current at all times.
But it constantly evades definition, though, so I just cringe to, call it steampunk, I mean, my dad's interests, come and go like the tides, but I held on to that one. And actually, when I graduated law school, my parents were like, what do you want for a graduation gift? And I'm like, Burning Man tickets? And they're like, sure. And so my parents bought my first Burning Man tickets as a law school graduation gift, and I've been going ever since.
That's not bad.
No, not at all. Some people get their gap year in Europe. I got Burning Man. I want to say I got a little bit more out of it.
Welcome to Accuracy Third. I'm Rex.
I'm Beth.
And I'm D-Day.
D-Day, what are we talking about today?
So today I have a question for the two of you, but we're not going to ask Beth
questions
because we already know. And the people who don't know don't deserve to know what Beth's creepiest moment on Playa is. And I'm afraid of hurting people's feelings who listen to the podcast if I talk about my creepiest moment on Playa. So it really seems safe to assume that you are the only person in this brand new 10 by 12 recording studio room that we're in to tell us what the creepiest moment you've suffered on Playa is.
Like the creepiest thing that's happened to me or the creepiest thing that I'm responsible for?
I was going to think happened to you. I hadn't even considered that you'd creeped somebody else out, but now I want to hear that.
Fuck.
Yeah, sorry. Attack questions. Everyone, send us your attack questions. It's been a while. We have to christen the new studio with you asking us uncomfortable, underwhelming shit. So tweet at us at accuracythird.com on Twitter or Facebook, or if you can message people on Instagram, do that. We're all there.
Yeah, message us. We will add you to attack questions.
Yeah, but if you do message us on Facebook, you should also email us because you're old and we're old. And if you send us an email, we'll get it.
All right. So there's a story that I told live at our live event, which for reasons we don't have good audio of, and I shan't be retelling completely here. But to summarize, I ended up in a state of mind that I had no plan for or understanding that I would be in. And I also have no very clear recollection of my behavior during this episode. I have some sensory recollections of what I experienced during this time, but I could not rely on them to be any kind of accurate. But it has been related to me by people who witnessed this moment in my life from
God, that just makes you grimace hearing that, doesn't it?
I was told I'd be
a reliable state of mind. That I may have jumped up on a table, perhaps in center camp, and made some very embarrassing announcements.
I mean, I can totally see you as a person who would get very, very sideways and decide that they need to tell everyone something.
But what I told everyone was pretty awful, and I would not have wanted to be
associated with that.
Yeah.
How old were you?
22?
Yeah.
If you listen to this podcast and you were there to see Rex embarrass himself in the cafe, feel free to come on Accuracy Third. You can email us at accuracythird@gmail.com and let us know your story about Rex embarrassing himself.
I strongly suspect I was creepy in a number of ways to a number of people.
Dude, your
of course,
hair.
That night. Yeah, it was probably a bad scene. I mean, I was naked at the end of it, so.
Oh man, I am like watching true cringe go across your face.
Sorry.
It's a hard piece of my history to have to
Like own up to.
back up. Look, it's very confusing. Very confusing. When you're in a state that you had no reason to think you were going to be in.
Yeah, that's fair. That's only nominally your fault. It's inherently your fault. It's not practically your fault.
It was the consequences of choices I made. It was not a thing I had any reason to foresee.
Oh.
Well, that is pretty cringe.
Yes, it was.
Luckily, I have never realized that I was doing anything cringy at any point in my life while I was doing it.
That's very true, DJ.
Yeah, I can only, be stricken with the memories of times I wasn't quick-witted enough in second grade when I could have told off a teacher. So we met Camino a whole bunch of times on Playa over the course of several years.
Oh, I was in on this interview.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on this interview.
Yeah, we're all here. Like, I've cut out a lot of material like that from this interview. A really genial guy that, like, we just ended up bumping into over and over because I guess the three of us and he really like just wandering deep playa at around the same times during the same days of the week.
And you have a very recognizable voice.
I have a very recognizable voice. That's true.
And my voice carries great distances.
And I'm everybody's second favorite.
We chatted with him. I'm just trying to remember the stories that aren't us making fun of this situation.
We met him at the giant city building thing.
What? The giant city building? The Fisherman's Village?
Yeah, that thing.
I thought we met him in that weird glass cage near the Fisherman's
We
Village.
met him there as well.
Yes.
And at Baba Yaga's.
And at Baba Yaga.
I don't think I ran into him at Baba Yaga's. I mean, what I mean is I probably don't remember him from Baba Yaga's because we were altered and all of my friends were around me and then suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, and I also think we weren't actually at Baba Yaga's. I think we were like coming from Baba Yaga's and he was going to Baba Yaga's. Also, I want to say Baba Yaga.
Yeah, I also want to say that our friends were still around and I led us off very quickly in a darker direction to get away from the people talking about all of the different directions they could go to and who wants to go to which dance party when. So we should head over toward this quadrant. And I was like, guys, this thing.
Yay. I can't wait to be doing a bunch of nonsense on Playa.
I can't wait to interact with everybody listening to this podcast who comes to our listener appreciation party.
Yeah.
Our
We
listener
don't need
appreciation
to announce
party.
it yet.
Why wouldn't
We can announce it.
Can announce it.
Wednesday of event week, whatever that is, at some point during the day.
3?
3.
2?
3.
2.
2.
2.
2.
2.
2.
2.
2 means
2
there's
p.m. It can be over by 4:30.
Yeah.
Like I can pass out till 7, drink
get
some
up
soup,
and
go out.
Yeah. And guess what? Guess where?
our home base.
Motherfucking center camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome. Join us
Come
at
find
Center
us.
Camp, the
Center
place
Camp.
that we build for you, literally, this year.
Will we
to
be-
party with us.
Go over to where the coffee used to get made, and there's not going to be any coffee. There's just going to be us.
And are we going to be able to run a bar?
Yeah.
There'll be us in a bar.
There'll be us in a
We'll
bar.
be carding people because we'll have to.
We'll have to.
Bring bottles, because we're not going to have enough bottles. It's
Yeah,
gonna
if
be
you
the bottles
bring
that
your
we
own
bring, but
liquor,
please
we
bring
don't have
bottles.
to card you. Hey, bring us liquor.
This year in Center Camp is a motherfucking duocracy. There's not going to be any more coffee that you can buy. There's just going to be some space. And so we're going to do a fucking party. And
Yeah,
you're gonna
we'll bring
come
some swag.
Do it with us.
Wednesday of event week at 2 p.m. in Center Camp.
In Center Camp. Look for our flag. We'll fly our flag.
Yeah, bring your picket signs. We're going to picket the fash.
Or picket us. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there'll be shade and a bunch of space. And if you haven't been, this is the thing we make.
Yeah, and if you want to meet Camino, come to this party. There's like a 90% chance Camino's going to be there.
I would say 90%. That is as high as I would give a person actually coming to our listener appreciation.
There is a 90% chance that we will be there.
Yeah.
That is-
so we'll be there. Camino will be there. And as you're about to hear, he is an absolute delight.
Well, thank you for joining us. How's
and solving the puzzle of how to talk to us.
Yeah. So like you've already got 10 points. If you get to 100 points during this interview, you get an episode.
I win Burning Man, you know?
Yeah.
D-Day, Rex, and DJ Beth. I've been listening since the days of Drunk Beth.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, thanks for calling in and squaring the circle of listener to participant.
I just love to wax poetic about Burning Man with people that really could give less of a shit. And you guys have just been my Burning Man methadone. So if I can give back to the community what you've been to me, I purpose satisfied.
So we're more addictive than heroin. You get less high and it's worse for your body.
Yeah, but
And
the
you can
government
get it free from the
prescribes it
government.
to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Just like this podcast. Best metaphor for this show yet, Kevin. I'll give you another 3 points.
I mean, I've been listening since since we've been in absence of a burn, so I want to think that says something.
Do you have a playa name?
Camino, I go by my last name.
Camino.
Yeah, it's kind of been that way since high school football, but ever since they named a brand of edibles after me, I've kind of just started rocking it.
That's not bad.
That's a smart choice, and they're baller little edibles.
And when did you start going to Burning Man?
I started going to Burning Man in 2016. That was my first year. I can remember with pretty explicit clarity every time I've run into you guys at Burning Man, because I run into you in the wild spontaneously, and it's happened essentially every year since I started listening to Accuracy Third.
Oh, no.
Is it because of me? Is it because you heard me shouting somewhere and were just like, oh, that guy?
No, it was
thank
really
Christ.
serendipitous. First time was intentional. I went to the listener appreciation party in 2017, which you guys held at the Hive, which was really remarkable to me because that was the first time I'd ever set foot in a sex dungeon on Playa or otherwise.
Well, a sex dungeon tent, like a sex annex.
The thing that stands out in my mind is they had the rules written on the wall, like the dungeon rules, and number one was no water sports, and I just thought it was remarkable that they had to stand up and tell people you can't pee on each other.
Well, not here. We didn't bring the bleach.
Yeah, you need to put down a gray water catcher if you're going to pee on people in the playa.
And the thing is, when you see black vinyl and black leather, your first thought is, well,
Gotta pee on that.
that's going to repel some fluids.
I worked that anecdote into a Toastmasters speech that I gave, and you should have just seen the bug eyes on the attendants.
Okay, so rapid fire. What are parallels between Toastmaster culture and burner culture?
Wait. What is Toastmaster culture?
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Tell Beth about what
I'm
Toastmasters
unaware
is.
of this phenomenon. Can you enlighten me?
It's a club that usually meets at libraries and civic centers to improve one's public speaking.
Oh.
And so they give you various speeches to do, and one of them I was supposed to be humorous, and so I just gave this long-winded cross-section of Burning Man that included, the fact that we have to be told not to pee on each other.
That's freedom.
Yeah. Is this like a TED Talk?
It's like Rotary, but with less creepy capitalist overtones.
Rotary. I always assumed Rotary had something to do with shooting quail. It's not. It's like.
I mean, I
all
think it's
capitalism
in
has to do with
places
shooting
where
quail.
people shoot quail.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, it's like the Moose Lodge.
I thought they were like the Shriners or something like that.
No, those are the Masons. and the Eastern Star and the Demolay, but I digress. So you're giving speeches about Burning Man.
Yeah, well, that was just one thing. And again, that would tie back.
Do you get an assignment that is your speech? Is it sort of like, hey, we're going to give you an assignment and you're going to come in and give us a talk as part of your public speaking training?
Yeah, they give you like a round of several speeches, and like one's like persuasive and one is supposed to be like a competitive anecdote.
This is literally a communications degree.
I did that because my boss told me to, but I digress.
Hey, free training.
Yeah, we're going to put you up on stage, buddy.
Did you find it helpful?
Oh, yeah. So I think this is kind of relevant to the second time that I ran into y'all on Playa, which was 2018 iRobot. And I was wandering around with this sort of LED strip suit that I'd made for myself that I was so proud of, but it was like, it's the most clunky piece of shit ever. I'm now using the man helmet that I made as like a lampshade.
Did we run into you near Baba Yaga?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Well, we ran into you guys, and I just see D-Day's face pop into my screen that I had in front of the mask, and I'm just like, oh, hey, D-Day, because how could I forget you, And
Couldn't tell you.
the standout from that memory was I was getting a picture with you, and I had this little switch on the wrist that would switch it from like blue lights to red lights. Then Beth, you mentioned, I'm on acid right now and it's really intense, so I'm just gonna hold your hand. And I'm like, okay. You grab my hand and it like shorted out like it had been, and everything turned red.
Yeah, she does that to folks. You should see when she gets next to an old cathode ray tube.
Allegedly, I don't actually do illegal substances at all.
I mean,
Like a great time.
you can build your own narrative with my words. I do not mind, but I had to mention that particular part of the story.
I do remember a bit of this. In the way that you probably could have just said that you met us anywhere that night. And those general things happened, and I'd be like, yeah, that sounds familiar.
But I remember where we met you in 2019.
Oh, which time? Because there was...
Well, the first time and the second time. I might be wrong. I might be totally One was in that weird mirror maze.
Yeah, the lens.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. It was nice to see you there. It was always nice to see a familiar face in a nightmare. And then later we met up on the fishing village.
The Folly.
The Folly, yeah, exactly. I do remember.
Yeah, that's right.
Kevin. I don't remember the first two times, apparently, but I do remember the second two times.
Yes, I had the strawberry whiskey.
Yes,
that
you were
D-Day
drinking
hates.
something awful.
But we got to give it to the creator of the...
Wasn't it also like a bit creamy?
Did we not run into one of the creators of the piece? One of the...
We absolutely did.
Yes.
We said,
And
hey,
we-
you should be on our podcast, and then we totally dropped the ball.
But-
Because
Well, we didn't bring stickers
the
with us.
accuracy third style.
But we literally lured him over with your strawberry whiskey. We're like, yeah, we totally have stuff to give you.
I was eager to share it. I know what I got.
That stuff, that strawberry whiskey is a problem.
In a good way.
Yeah, like in a really too nice of a kind of way.
My first year I had at Burning Man, like I didn't know what to like bring to participate, and I had a bottle of homemade huckleberry whiskey that my boss had gifted me.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and it kind of like was initially a shock to me when I'd just be like helping somebody with their bike, and I'd be like, "Hey, do you want a shot of huckleberry whiskey?" And they'd be like, "Do I?" And then everyone was just like, without a second thought, there's no like, I gotta wipe the lid. There's no like, let me birdie this or pour me. Everyone was just down to chug, and then.
Robust immune systems, us burners.
Well, we used to be much more into, mouth stuff with strangers.
Man, if you don't think 2022 is going to be full of mouth stuff with strangers.
2022, mouth stuff with strangers.
I feel like we're going to need a licking booth in 2022.
You can have like a barrier kissing booth where you just have like some saran wrap on one side and stretch it across and just, tongue through that.
Yeah, I'm down for putting a female condom in my mouth.
Internal condom. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that the name for them now?
That is the appropriate name for it.
Sure.
Condoms don't have a gender.
Yeah, Rex is a sex professional.
I'm a professional of a lot of things. Sex is just one of them.
Fine. Rex is not just a sex professional. Better?
Sex professional inter alia.
Thank you. Oh, you are already our lawyer, dude.
I like to think of myself as a polyfuck.
Did you guys do anything with Burning Man in the off years in the 2020 and 2021? Did you do the virtual VR everything?
No, that was too depressing. We did a little burn in the backyard for 2020. 2021, I watched the staff burn with Crimson Rose and a tiny man, and nobody.
Oh, I did that,
and just kind of cried by myself because I am now sad all the time.
Well, not just sad all the time.
No, I'm not just sad all the time, but I'm never not a little bit sad about how long it's been.
I definitely feel that there's like an expressive and spiritual constipation that I have, having been absent from like Burning Man for such a long time. The thing that got me through that sad crying while we watched the first staff burn in 2020 was this thought of, at least I know I'll be there next year.
Yeah. Oh, 2 in a row was rough.
I hosted a moth-style storytelling show on BRCVR, the Oculus-based virtual reality, and that was really fulfilling in the moment.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't a total wash, if you will.
If you have recordings of it, maybe plunder your audio.
There might be some really gnarly stuff from Facebook recordings of it or whatnot, but I'll see what I can do.
That'd be neat.
People who actually prepare stories are very rare on our podcast, so storytelling is not. It's unique.
I feel like a lot of like my dialogue with people is scripted based on like conversations I've already had in like hypothetical conversations I've already had in my head. One of the things I just talk about a lot is just remembering like the art that I got to participate in, and just how much like I continue to want to play a participatory role in my life after having become a part of like Burning Man.
And what year was that?
That was 2016.
2016.
And then 2017 was the year I had to bring all my friends. And then 2018 was the first year that I worked on a project and got to be there for Build Week. And then 2019 was the year that I helped build 2 projects, the Lens, that freaky mirror circle that you were talking about, and then Mega Mega, one of the honoraria projects that you guys didn't get around to that.
Yeah, you told us to go see Mega Mega. I think we tried, and it seemed very, very closed when we were there.
I'm kind of convinced that you are like somehow an acid hallucination that only shows up when I'm high. Because like it is very odd that we keep bumping into you in altered states.
Not if he's following us. If he follows us all the time, it makes sense that we bump into him sometimes.
I follow you on Facebook. I think the rest just kind of flows naturally.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's true. Facebook contacts are notoriously sticky.
Exactly. You can't delete somebody without them wondering what they did wrong.
Oh man, it's so weird when you delete like some friend from a real long time ago, and then like a couple months later they friend you again.
It's still a step up from the top 8. The top 8 was the most vicious social moment of the early social media days.
So, Kevin, I have a particular question for you.
Sure.
You're a lawyer.
Uh-huh.
What is the most illegal thing you've seen out there that you've had nothing to do with personally and doesn't indict any individual by name?
Ooh.
Oh, take your time. Because if you got more than one, we want to hear all of them.
I saw Wook give a 14-year-old ketamine.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking illegal and gross.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else is so much more lighthearted, but I want to say that was probably the lowest point of my Burning Man experience. And I went the year that the guy ran into the damn thing,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
We asked the most. It is also illegal to try to kill yourself.
But it's not illegal to succeed. Shame on Wook.
Burning Man is made up of people, and people are shitty.
Yes.
Don't forget that. Even a lot of people that are lovely and are trying to be lovely with the express desire of being fun and playful and lovely with each other, there are still absolutely assholes, jerks, human beings who will, like, be gross at other human beings because they're idiots and malicious or...
Well, when you
ignorant.
ask for the most illegal thing, you're going to get a really illegal thing.
I know, you're so right. I was like thinking, I don't know why.
Hey, Camino, what's
Yes.
a more playful illegal thing that you saw at Burning Man that's like kind of lighthearted and maybe funny and a better story, but not like an illegal thing where we're all like, oh, yeah. Well, maybe the carceral state for some people, you know, not most people, but like that guy, maybe. Maybe like some sort of rehab. Definitely some sort of rehab. Maybe some incarceration, but mostly something not that dumb.
Well, you know, I think a lot of it is usually just drug related. My advice generally is, you know, keep your shit on lock. Don't let the cops or anybody that could even fathomably be a cop see your shit. Maybe every other day you'll run into somebody like just walking down the street, you know, smoking a joint, and you can hear the clink of their whippets in their pockets, you know?
Yeah, totally. That's the regular kind of illegal.
Yeah, it's also it's getting harder and harder to remember that you can't smoke a joint outside when you can legitimately smoke a
All
joint
of the
outside like
states that
several
adjoin-
hundred yards away when you're in Nevada.
Yeah, and so many of the states that actually butt up to Nevada. I wonder what percentage of the Burning Man population comes from states where it's legal.
I mean, you certainly pass through them on the way there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, it's legal in Nevada. It's just not legal on federal playa.
you can, you know, get on an airplane at like LAX or Oakland or whatever, and they don't give a shit that you have weed in your baggage. So doesn't the Burner Express fly from like Oakland or something like, or Sacramento or something like that?
Probably.
The plain one.
No idea.
No clue.
I know that there's a fancy airplane, Burner Express, that Diplo and all those other assholes use.
Well, I'm sure it's super cool that they're not willing to make the trip by car.
Well, they're missing out.
They are missing out on a hell of a lot of scenery.
Inversely, what do you think is the most illegal shit that you guys, as laymen, have seen on Playa?
I mean, I think when I saw cops definitely assaulting somebody who was unable to resist, that's probably the most like truly illegal thing that I saw
Gosh,
out there.
I'm the worst. I didn't think it was gonna get this dark. I was just like building code violations, fire hazards. I wasn't.
Well, there's
thinking
no
about-
building codes out there, so
I
it
know,
can't be
but
illegal.
like you see stuff and you're like, this isn't accessible. I'm sorry, I had an idea in my head about what was illegal, and it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
turn out to be the.
You know
vast
what, Beth?
majority
No
of what's
ramps.
illegal.
Okay, so I have seen plenty of exposed rebar in falling prone areas.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know, art projects and whatnot. I remember one year in 2018, the honoraria project I helped build that year was Singularity. That was the house in the big broken
Oh,
bird
that
cage.
was beautiful.
Oh god, that was the creepiest
I
fucking
loved
piece.
it.
That was incredible. That
I
was
came
the
back to
best
watch that
example
burn.
of dark art.
It was.
How did
so
I not
good
see you
dark
that
art.
one time that we were probably like 20 feet from each other?
I was on the burn perimeter for that one, so I mean, if you weren't right in front of me, it just didn't happen. But
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the pieces that people like to climb all over, and we got a bunch of pictures like after the fact. There was one of like a 12-year-old kid standing on the roof of the outer largest house, one's like 2 stories tall, and I'm just thinking to myself, there's no beams under that fucking roof. It's all plywood. You know?
Yeah.
You got to be glad that they weigh 85 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why, like, my dream piece of art that I wanted to put on Playa was specifically called Do Not Climb. And most of it featured a gigantic lit up sign that just blinked over and over again, Do Not Climb. And the sculpture is just pieces of wood and wire and fish hooks.
Do y'all subscribe to the ethos that everything at Burning Man is built to be climbed on, or is there like a threshold of delicacy where you can say like, you know what, I'm going to leave that one alone?
Oh, yeah. There's stuff where I know if I climb on it, I'm going to fuck it up, and I'm not going to climb on that. But if you build something that looks climbable, you really ought to make it climbable.
Like that dome made out of shiburi that I climbed on, but like people were doing like real serious shiburi inside it, and were not happy that I clambered like right up on it.
Ishibari Sanctuary, like it was all knots and whatnot.
Yeah.
Was that one, or was it the suspended animation, the other kink camp that does a lot about?
I think it was red.
In Open Playa.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that one. Holy shit, I remember that one.
Oh, yeah, they did not think D-Day was cool that night.
Oh, God, was that a clash of different people in different moments?
Is there a story associated with
sex parties? You haven't seen me at a regular sex party.
Oh, it was just a night where we were out wandering, and D-Day decided to climb a thing that looked climbable and should have been climbable, but it was full of people hanging each other.
It was also an exceptional night where we hadn't found anything to climb.
Yeah.
Or like any bar to drink at for somewhere between like 2 and 7 hours.
All of those nights have become the same night eventually, but I believe you.
I mean, some people just have no restraint when it comes to stuff like that. I think it was that same year, 2018, where they had like nearby singularity. It was supposed to be like a Zoroastrian sky burial. And so, like, there was just all these sticks hanging up, these, like, kind of makeshift hammocks with, you know, what looked like bodies wrapped up in them. There was, like, this art car that looked like a bumblebee. They had a really nice sound system. And I followed them to this very delicate-looking art piece. And everybody proceeded to pile out of that art car and just swing themselves up into the hammocks with the corpses, or the faux corpses up there.
I think that's a mistake on the artist of understanding their audience, which is, I think you can make non-climbable art that doesn't look climbable that people will respect and not climb. If you put hammocks out there, I feel like you're just asking for it, man.
I guess I'm underselling how rickety it looked. I was surprised that it held them up. You know, it would look like it was made out of driftwood, you know, and didn't give off this air of climb me.
I've kind of been obsessed with the climbing experience at Burning Man recently. Like, everybody that I've been talking to at new jobs, if I show them Burning Man pictures, I'm showing them night at the Climb-In and 20, however many stones it was.
Terrifying number of stones.
21 stones or something like that.
That number of stones, which like they're so impactful. They're both such impactful.
Stone 27 or 21.
Yeah,
they reversed the numbers. Sorry.
That big horrifying rock staircase.
Yes,
suspended in space.
Wonderful.
One of my absolute favorite, like, visceral experiences.
It was so good, but even better was sitting on the sidelines and just watching as people freaked out as it became obviously clear how
treacherous the top step is.
Yeah. It's not actually that treacherous, but boy, howdy, it feels like you're about to die.
It's pretty treacherous.
Yeah, I didn't dare myself.
You didn't go over the top step?
I don't climb a lot of stuff. My life is a series of risk evaluations, and falling from great height does not, like, pass my own muster.
That's fair.
Height scares me.
With the number of limbs I've broken in falls, you'd think I'd be smarter about it, but I'm not. I like going up things.
I'm just uncomfortable even thinking about it again.
Oh my God, D-Day had a panic attack watching someone else on there. It was maybe, I'm sorry, my dear sweet friend, it was probably the funniest moment at Burning Man that year.
Sure.
Honestly, this might have been right before we ran into you in that mirror chamber-y thing that night. But D-Day was like an absolute no about it when we walked up to it. And then we watched someone who had gotten to the top, but then was too scared to come down. And D-Day was like walking around in circles and like being like, we should just go. Like,
it's the step up and the step down to that top step are the worst moments in that entire climb.
It's
everything
too much.
else makes sense.
No. Too much for anyone to do successfully.
Speaking of heights and anxieties, I think you kind of like prompted a flashback where I think it might have been immediately before I met you guys on the Folly. I remember being up in one of the towers that you have to climb all the stairs to get up into, and I was like, on one of the outer walkways. You know, we're maybe big enough for like 1.5 people. And I'm smoking a cigarette and I'm like, this fucking thing is crowded and I can hear like everything here creaking.
Yeah.
And all this wood is really dry and is going to burn later. And I'm smoking a cigarette. Like, this is dangerous. And I was just like, I think I got to get down from here. And something like that inevitably happens when I climb like high things at Burning Man, unfortunately. I did have another story that I thought you guys might find appreciable, more so as a counterpoint to something that I think you have expressed a little bit of disdain for previously, which is the
Belgians.
I was going to say the Dr. Bronner's pseudo
that
foam
place.
camp.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us your appreciation of the Dr. Bronner's.
Nearly French motherfuckers.
There's a lot of it that I can skim over. It was really meaningful to me to be able to be naked around a crowd for the first time that I went. And
Okay.
We do forget that we are hippies.
I totally respect that because I had that experience.
Well, Beth and I are naked right now. Rex is only schlong out.
Skimming over Alex Gray painting there, skimming over the fact that you can get a shower on Playa, so thoroughly.
Such an aggressive shower. So minty.
Y'all didn't know me when I was younger, but I grew up with like a lot of like body shame.
Oh, I remember.
Like
when you were ashamed of your body, I was there with you.
BMI of 30 was just too high to fit in growing up, and so I had a lot of like anxiety about my body, and then body dysmorphia when it came to things like my hair and whatnot. I used to paste it down with just so much pomade that it was comical. But that first year that I went to the foam shower, it was 2017 transformation, and did the whole go into the tractor trailer, get washed off thing. And as I was leaving, they had this sort of separate exhibit attached to it that was a hall of mirrors. And they had a poster on the wall that explained that these aren't, ordinary mirrors. This is a hall of true mirrors.
True mirrors. I remember this.
And yeah, they're like joined seamlessly at 90 degrees so that when you look into them, you don't see a flipped mirrored image. You see your reflection flipped so that you see yourself in the way that everyone else perceives you.
Yeah.
And so the poster said, you are used to looking upon your flipped and mirrored image self in your mirror at home. You project all your anxieties and your insecurities onto yourself, and you've never seen yourself as you appear to others. Look upon yourself and see yourself as the beautiful human that you've always been. And I swear to you, I've never had this sort of clear of like a eureka moment when I looked into the mirror, freshly clean, clad in what was basically a Tinkerbell outfit and goggles. And I had this just most profound feeling of body acceptance. I felt for the first time in my life, quote unquote, handsome. And that stuck around with me. I don't have the sort of body dysmorphia anymore. I feel that it just needed that perspective shift. And that's something that I experienced through what that camp provides.
I actually had the identical experience with true mirrors on display out on the Esplanade one year. I also grew up heavy and with real body image issues that I struggled with well into my adulthood. And experiences in public bathing at Burning Man and in other places have really helped me with feelings about my body. But seeing my face in the true mirror for the first time completely changed my relationship with my face and my forward-facing persona. I feel completely different about how I look to the rest of the world now. Who knew that two mirrors at 90 degrees? Fucking magic.
Right? No, I wanted to get one, and then you go on their website like after the fact, and they're like $10,000.
Oh yeah, they're a wild engineering project.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The seamless joining at like 90 degrees. That's the kind of shit you see at Burning Man, right? Like,
I would say that was also like a massive part of my body acceptance. Like I went for the first time when I was like 23, and at that point in time, I'd already been like a stripper and had the experience of being like, yay, look at me. My body is sexually acceptable. and it hadn't worked, and it had made me kind of hate men for a while. And then I had grown up and spent many years doing other things, and then I went out there and I went to Spike's Red Wine and Vampire Bar.
Blah.
That was out there. They had wine and ivy drip bags that you could walk up to and drink from, and they had a big stripper stage with like...
It's a pole, Beth.
Well, they had
a pole
3
on a
poles that were on the stage. It was quite nice. And I remember getting up and just enjoying the fuck out of it and being like, oh, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted as a stripper. As a young adult, I wanted to be appreciated for being sexually appealing, but not in that way where someone is giving me $20 for 3 minutes to grind in their lap. And I had the most amazing night. And then like 3 or 4 months later, my dear friend who had taken pictures of that night, like showed me pictures of it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's fucking hot. That's fucking hot. Yeah, that's how that felt. Good.
Yeah, being real counterculture made me much more comfortable with my body and who I am than even like being somebody who is or was regularly like aggrandized on stage and had photos taken of him and still felt like weird and unable to really like fulfill the role of a lead physically. But like dressing how I want and being the comfortable with the person I am out at Burning Man made me much more comfortable as a human being.
Man, I thought that you like totally found your body comfort in wrestling just based on the number of singlets you still own.
Well, yeah, but I was like 140 pounds then.
Do you guys like Spankies?
I like my tush slapped, yes. Camino, you like Spankies?
Spankies is where I take people now that are still cutting their teeth on Burning Man. If they need their eyes open, they'll be no wider than they are when they're rolling the dice to get their drink or whatever.
I don't think I've ever been to Spankies.
No Spanky's Wine Bar?
Oh, yeah. I've been past them once. Sure.
Tell us about Spankies. What's with this dice?
Shit, there's a lot of things about Spankies, but the dice thing is they have that game. I'm certain it's been replicated across Playa a few places where you roll the dice and it corresponds to like a list on the bar of numbers, and then there are dares that you don't have to do, wink wink, to get your drink, but that's what they're offering.
It's suggested you be cool.
Yeah. The first time I did that, I ended up getting completely naked, lighting 2 sparklers, and then running around the bar singing the Star Spangled Banner.
That was on the wheel as an option, or is that just like free form?
No, that was explicitly on the list as something to do.
Okay.
Get naked, light 2 sparklers, run around the bar singing the Star Spangled Banner.
Did they provide the sparklers?
Yes, they did.
Fair.
Like the ones we had when we were kids that were like dangerous and would like definitely put someone's eye out?
They seemed like, politically correct sparklers these days.
I see.
I've also done a helicopter dick on stage at Spanky's.
Is helicopter dick also on the wheel?
Yes.
Yes, Beth, it's all on the wheel.
What if you don't have that appendage?
They had a separate list for women and men.
Oh.
Helicopter tits, Beth.
Genital essentialism is not something I agree to. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say they had one other one. Like, again, they're genital-centric activities, and like one of them was like, get on stage and do a squirrel on the trampoline, ask your bartender what that is, and it's just putting your testicles in your hand and bouncing them, because nuts and trampoline and so on and so forth.
But like, I don't want to touch my balls out on Playa and then like have a drink.
Really?
Like,
That's a fair point.
it really seems like there should be like a considerable amount of washing my hands.
Like, I don't even have balls, and I feel like I'm constantly touching balls out there. You can't like have that not be a part of drinking.
They actually have a booth out front it's like a groping booth where you can go inside and not see anybody, and then you can put your breasts or your genitals or something else through these glory holes, and passersby can just come up and fondle them. And you got that. It's got flogging tables. It's got they got those car buffer massagers and all that, so
you can go and get your butt buffed.
or flogged or whatnot.
Do you think you can come through butt puffing?
I've never tried it, but people can come through all sorts of shit, and that's a lot of oscillation, right?
It is. It's like I'm like, depending on how like sturdy and how strong, and also how not taking off your own skin. That could
Yeah,
work.
well, I mean, it's usually a cloth on there, and
Yeah, you want to put a chamois on there. But I stare at you hard enough, Beth, you'll come.
Yeah, I mean, you don't like necessarily even need to resort to the buffer at Spanky's, because I remember one year they had a trailer parked up like next to the bar with an opaque curtain over it, and there was a dude with a Sibian in there.
My dear friend, what is a Sibian for our uninitiated?
come on, all of our listeners are
That is
perverts.
so. I can't even picture which sex toy it is. Tell me what a Sibian
It's a symbol, Beth.
You know, zilchin.
is. It one of those rocker things?
It looks like a horse saddle, and it's got this little bit in the center that it's like, it's not a full-on penetrating piece. It's like just a little thing that sits right in
like a
the
ridge.
taint asshole area. Yeah.
Okay.
And then it just, I guess, vibrates with really great intensity.
On a horse saddle. I could get into this.
It's Horse Girl the Vibrator.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
right up my alley, actually.
Yeah, it's famous via Howard Stern. He would put lady guest.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it one of those things that if you own a particular set of genitals, then it will make you come forcibly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
I
totally
don't
fair.
even know how like specific to genitals it is.
It's about
It's like-
making you come forcibly.
That is a lot of high horsepower oscillation, right where all the nerve endings are, and like that will generalize all up and down the pelvic region.
Like, I've heard the loudest orgasms that I've ever gotten to hear from the line of individuals that went in there to use it when I was present. I've never heard anything like it, but they had one, you know, just there off to the side at Spanky's.
You're selling it to me.
I once found a repurposed porta potty with solar panels on the roof that had a.
A Sibian in there instead of a seat.
It was a magic wand and a bunch of playgirls.
God.
Oh, really?
Wrong venue. Right idea. Wrong venue.
Have you seen any weird sex toys out at Burning Man? Not weird in a kink shaming sense, but weird in a, like, I didn't expect to see that out here.
Yes, but also in a kink shaming way.
We don't kink shame.
We don't kink shame, but if
We
anyone
just
has
say
ever,
some people's yums are yucky.
there's some people's engineering which seems a little bit too poor to get on the contraption and have it take care of you.
That's true. I have seen some jank out there, and you don't want jank when you're expecting it to take weight and impact.
There was a gentleman out there who came upon me and my lady friend.
Did
one
he
evening.
at least give you a warning first, like squeeze your thumb or something?
He introduced his bag of homemade sex toys. And
Homemade.
and he
that's
said
real
that he
gift.
was looking. It wasn't a gift. It was for people to try out and then let them know what they experienced and rate their experience with it, so he could do like field testing.
Like, where else is it appropriate to do this?
I mean, pretty much there.
Porn convention.
Yes, a porn like a place where people opt into that.
Yeah,
like Burning Man.
exactly. Exactly.
Instead of just, you know, offering a bag of loose sex toys to people, rating scale of 1 to 10.
They looked fine. They looked like wads that maybe somebody else had pressed themselves against.
There was once in a certain social space that I will not be specific about, a bag of sex toys presented as a collaborative fun
I
project.
believe
to
it
be
was a
used to
kiddie
decorate.
pool of sex toys.
The kiddie pool was full of lube.
Oh, you're right.
These are different.
I'm sorry.
And the sack of sex toys, well, entirely a goof 'em up that was well received by all, was not well received by all. And the sex toys were made to be put away at our party for grown adults. But one of them stayed adhered to the side of my trailer for almost the entire event.
Yeah, that was
because
amazing.
Silicone dildo suction cups are baller.
They also turn out to be perfectly great massaged. They're
You can really beat the
thumpy.
shit out of
Yeah.
someone's back.
If you get one with really like big heavy balls on it, you can like really apply a lot of force to your own back with that thing.
I've seen some big fake cocks being used as what was it? One of those sledgehammer games like you would see at a carnival.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, the whack-a-mole
smart.
games.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the one where you hit it and then it goes up and it rings a bell.
It's a strength test.
Yeah.
There was another camp nearby that my first year camping at Burning Man when it was a solo camp offered to shave people's pubes, and they said that it came with a happy ending. But if a woman requested a happy ending, they would get her off in a traditional manner. Whereas if a man requested a happy ending, they'd bust out the fuck saw and see if they still consented.
What is?
Okay, so the fuck saw, I'm assuming, is a reciprocal saw with a dildo on it.
A sawzall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
Was
what
that
is
at least
what is the traditional
offered
way?
to the femme-bodied individuals?
That's not how it was presented to me, but I think it's kind of disappointing that they didn't, I guess.
Right? At least, show them the menu before you order for it.
God, people are so fucking creepy out there sometimes.
Yeah.
You ever get a massage from somebody and then come up and then see that everybody is every other massage table is getting fondled?
No.
Every massage I've ever gotten out there, no matter how intimate, did not result in unexpected fondling.
No, not for me. Certainly not. I don't know if you guys get those random Thursday cramps in your shoulders or something. I guess I'm just that dehydrated by that point in the week.
Yeah, you should probably also have some potassium, bro.
Yeah. And so I couldn't get this knot out, and so I went and found a massage camp and sat around for an hour and a half because I was just dying for somebody to try and put their elbow into the knot. This kind individual gave me a nice firm massage, and I was grateful. And then when I sat up, there were people on every other table, getting their nipples fondled or their clit rubbed in a very exotic fashion. I just
That's pretty colonialist, isn't it? Just really Eurocentric.
Yeah.
Are you saying that the clitoris only exists in Europe, or that rubbing the clitoris is exotic?
It was non-standard formations of fingers and arrangements of hands and inclusions of third parties.
It was neither Swedish nor deep tissue.
I was simply enlightened to novel techniques, having found myself in the presence of an event that I didn't expect myself to.
Yeah, it's kind of your responsibility at that point to really take a second and see what you're looking at before you sigh and turn away.
And here's the important question. Did you take note of the name of that camp? And will you be including it in our follow-up email where we ask you for an image for the episode?
I don't even remember the name of the camp, unfortunately.
Why does no one take notes?
My first year was when I was in the midst of waiting for my bar exam results to come back. Mm-hmm. Even while I was at Burning Man, there was just this latent anxiety of everything that I've been working to for 3 years just hanging on my shoulders. I went to something that I didn't feel entirely drawn to, but the people that were in my group wanted to go to it. It was the Aqua Bar, which was that water bar where they have a bunch of different flavored waters and seltzers behind the bar with intentions on them. Posters saying that if you focus intention on water, its crystalline structure changes and it can remember intentions.
I saw that terrible movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot bullshit, but Water Bar is great. Water Bar has literally saved my life twice.
I'm not subscribing to the belief system, but I'm
of the water.
And so my friends got their intention-based cocktails. The bartender, an individual named Love Dog, asked me, what intentions I wanted, and I said I'm not sure. And I was like, "What do you got?" And he's like, "Well, what do you got going on in your life?" And I told him I was waiting for my bar results, and that I was kind of stressed out about that. And he's just like, "You know what? I'm a lawyer too. Let me see what I can do." And he went and grabbed a bunch of bottles, and he's just like, I'm going to give you, a dash of patience, and I'm going to, give, he went on and crafted this very sort of well-meaning and sort of heart-to-heart expression of intention for me as somebody who had been where I stood and just completely reassured me of my purpose in that moment, that I was doing the right thing, that I would pass the bar exam, that I would go on and do good things. And I came back to him the next day, and I'm just like, or the next year, I thanked him for the role that he played in, just helping me get through that period in my life, because it just fucking sucked. The things you find at Burning Man by accident, right?
I like that service as theater. That's the best kind of interactive service camp at Burning Man. Like they're not providing you water necessarily because you didn't come prepared and your water has run out. And they're not providing you intentions because they needed to provide some sort of interactivity to get nice placement so they could party up close. They're there to have fun interaction with you across a fixed service mode, and not necessarily
sometimes it just works.
Sometimes performance art is amazing.
There's going to be so many Instagram influencers after the next burn posting their burn nudes on their OnlyFans and be completely in conflict with the principle of decommodification.
Yeah.
Is that a bunch? Like, how much is a bunch?
They'll be like 6.
I don't know. We'll be wearing our diapers behind them, pointing at them and laughing, fucking up their shots.
It won't take many messages from Burning Man legal for OnlyFans to start self-policing for keywords.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's very dystopian.
Well, Burning Man protects their IP really tightly. You cannot make money using the word Burning Man without having spoken to them thoroughly.
Yeah, but
I've
just
seen
search for
porn
EDM
that was
sex.
made at Burning Man that was quite hot and nice and free.
That's right. You didn't pay for
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
on the server, Beth. It's not free. You just didn't
God
pay.
damn it, D-Day, that's not porn. That's erotica. I don't shoot porn.
I shoot porn.
I know.
It's on the server.
I know. That's why there's a firewall.
Beth, are you watching his boring shit? It's all lighting and drapes.
It's drama you don't
called
understand.
Composition, dude.
It's called mise en scène, and like where I'm blasting has all of it.
I think it'll be interesting to see if influencers dent Burning Man in the way that they've grown in the past couple of years. I don't think OnlyFans, just because it's porn. It's
We
hard
just need
to
a
shoot
manager to manage us as Burning Man influencers.
Oh.
Camino, are you a good enough lawyer to be our manager so we can be influencers?
I wouldn't dare.
You can have 20%.
Of nothing.
Yeah, but off the top.
Dude, we've already got a porn lawyer.
We
Oh,
do.
that's true.
You do.
Yeah, Laszlo,
He's our porn lawyer.
you still listening?
Please be our porn lawyer.
Yeah, come back on, help us.
Please bring the Orgy Dome back this year.
Oh, I imagine that they will.
Oh, there
Those are
must.
determined folks.
There must be
Well,
an orgy dome.
They were very vocal about the fact that they weren't coming in 2020. Like, they were one of the first that were just like, we're not going even if there is a burn, and made like a very big show about that. So I wonder if they'd continue that if things remain the general state they are.
Well, there will be safety protocols at this burn that just weren't going to be possible in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if y'all bring Orgy Dome back, Accuracy Third will do an after-hours party at Orgy Dome. I promise.
God, that's a threat, not a nice thing.
I know what
What?
it is.
At least 2.5 of us are fuckable.
I'm totally stoked. I have a girlfriend this time.
Great.
Yeah.
Bring her.
Oh, yeah. You want a girlfriend if you're going to orgy dome. That's
Yeah,
really important.
You're gonna want to bring your own partner.
I met her at Burning Man, so it's been kind of like on the list for.
All right, tell us about your meet.
Yeah, how did you meet your cute at Burning Man? Good question, Beth.
So we actually matched on Tinder like 2 weeks before the burn, but because I was going out there for Build Week and was just in the midst of packing and whatnot, I didn't have time to meet her in person. So, even because there's no signal, we couldn't, keep texting during the burn and build week either. So we just said, Friday before the man burn, meet me 2 lampposts from the man.
Holy shit. That to me is like a wild, like...
And had like funny stuff been happening to you all week during the event? Because that sounds like a romantic comedy, my dude.
Complete wrong.
Yeah.
No, I feel the same way.
Okay, we will option this. You have to become a media lawyer.
So you guys agreed to this ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
And it actually happened?
It absolutely happened. I was there at 5 o'clock, and I'm sitting there smoking a cigarette to myself, and I'm like, there's no way this is actually going to fucking happen. And then somebody bikes up, and I look closely. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's her. She had Burning Man pictures on her profile and was wearing that stuff when I saw her at the burn. That was like the instant super, like, I spent like $5 just to like be like, hey, I like you.
Aw, a $5 date.
At first date at Burning Man, and it's gone on for, going on, I think, our 3rd year now. Because the burn's our anniversary.
Yeah. Rex and I's anniversary is also the burn.
Not true. Our anniversary is build week.
You're right. It's right before the burn.
It's right after you got your nickname, Beth.
Remember
your nickname? Remember that night you got your nickname? That real flirty night?
That's the night that we all found out that Beth was a DJ.
Uh-huh.
Wiki.
Might have also been the night that I was just randomly grabbing your ass all night.
No, actually, you've got that totally backwards. I was randomly grabbing your ass all night. Because you kept cuddling up to me and you were wearing an enormous backpack, as you are wont to do. So where else was my hand to go?
Yeah, if you need somebody to carry 18 beers in a backpack, Beth is your lady.
Yeah, do you need 3 jackets and a 12-pack of beer? I've got a backpack for you.
It's like you're touring Europe at Burning Man.
We take long hikes.
We really
do.
I could bring my backpacker's backpack. That's not a bad idea.
Right? Like, it's the last one that we went on last year, the last year that Burning Man happened.
There has only been 1 year since Burning Man happened. Or, well, yeah, I mean, it's, 3 months now? 4 months?
I think about 10 miles that we walked before we dropped off Pope. Because Pope was like...
Yeah, first we broke Pope's feet.
We broke Pope. And this was when we decided we were going to walk less far by biking out to midway into Playa, because we're just admitting we're going to see Playa. And locking up our bikes out midway into Playa.
Didn't one person have like a shitty bike that didn't work? Was that Pope?
That was Pope walking with us, biking on the way out there. And then we walked out and did all of that garbage. And we got back to our bikes, and we managed to talk a very nice human being into...
Hope got a ride back on like the most baller chopper trike ever.
Oh, it was so huge and weird.
It was like a pipe organ.
This guy pulled up and we were chatting with him. And I'm like, oh God, Pope is never going to ask for this. And I'm like, please, sir, take our good manager back to center camp because he's broken. He can't walk this far.
And then we did another like 4 or 5 miles.
Easily.
Well, we biked back from there. But it was past Temple where we tied up our bikes. So we biked back from there. Yeah.
Fuck, I love wandering Deep Playa.
Remember having fun? Guys.
Yeah.
Fucking miss Burning Man.
I'm having fun right now, Beth.
We're having fun remembering how much fun we had on Playa.
Please, let's go back this year so I can be over this.
We're definitely going back this year.
It's definitely happening.
Yeah. Do you know how I know?
How?
Because you built for center camp?
No. Well, kind of. I know that there will be Burning Man this year because it is mid-December and we are already dealing with a whole bunch of Burning Man bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
We're being engaged in like tomorrow. Burning Man work shit in a way that like I'm excited to be involved in it, but I wasn't expecting to like really start having to be involved in anything until like February or March.
Oh, no, baby. Long ramp.
We haven't done it for 2 years. It's time.
This is the new normal.
Yep.
Why are we trying to do this event in 7 months when we could easily do it in 9.
We're all broken. Let's make this twice as long because we don't know how to do stuff anymore.
And we didn't do it for 2 years. We have to make a lot of
we
mistakes again.
To be
It's
in
great.
meetings with our
We've got 3 years of burners with 3 years of, expressive blue balls just waiting to
Absolutely.
paint their canvas that is the playa.
Wait until I pull this sounding rod out. I'm gonna paint the playa white.
That is our episode title.
No, it can't come from me. It always comes from the guest.
Do you have plans for what you're going to do in 2022? It sounds like it's sort of like an accelerating Burning Man career.
The plan currently, unless somebody that I'm close to tells me that they have a project that got honoraria or something, I'll do what I've done for the past 2 years that I did make it out to Playa, where I just wait till they announce who's getting honoraria grants and find who's local and email the project lead and be like, hey, do you need free labor? And go ingratiate myself with the build crew and help them build it during build week. Because I can't not be a part of a project anymore. I need to go out there and see the city blossom as I play a admittedly minor role in contributing something to it.
So being a part of it is really important to my experience.
Oh yeah, all I really do is lift things and screw them together. But where would you be without enough of us, right?
An hour of labor is an hour of labor. I think an hour spent for a purpose larger than yourself is as valid no matter what it is.
I look at Burning Man as one of the greatest examples of what happens when enough people give a shit. You don't see examples of Burning Man at that scale anywhere else, just because this is where enough people that give a shit gather. I felt the same way when I saw the Vatican for the first time. If only we could give as much of a shit that we could build a St. Peter's Cathedral, and instead we get Burning Man.
Yeah, if only a cabal several thousand years old of pedophiles could enough money so that we could have a temple to their grandiosity and evil like this.
Honestly, today I
more halberds, Rex.
I am just getting sick of the way you talk about the org these days. It's just a bunch of hippies that want to make art like us just because they do specific jobs all year round doesn't make them a 1,000-year-old cabal of pedophiles. It's weird that you keep doing this.
That hat is dead. Long live the hat.
May it always rest upon your head.
And also upon yours.
Hands up.
And that was Camino.
That was Camino.
He reminded me after the interview that we met him his virgin year when he was out wearing a very bright coat, and I was not just altered, but a little bit
Maudlin?
No, in the middle of a bit probably, and
In the middle of a bit.
and really pulling him along with me.
Rowdy. You were a little bit
Rowdy, that's good. Yeah. That's a thing I do. Yes,
That is a thing you do.
All right, so I was rowdy at Camino.
Yeah, you were doing some stomping.
And he mentioned that he didn't have a playa name, and as he was wearing such a bright coat, I named him Lightwad. And he didn't want to be named Lightwad, but I demanded he was Lightwad. And sometimes that's what happens when you interact with me on Playa. Come find me. I'll be in Deep Playa.
So I'm confused. Why have we persisted in calling him Camino when he was clearly Playa named Lightwad?
Because we didn't mention it during the episode. So now it's after the episode. And we're mentioning that Camino is Lightwad. And unfortunately, the music in this episode is my filler text of band and quote unquote song, followed by URL. which
Check
is
the goddamn
unfortunate.
episode
No.
notes.
The problem is
Go team.
Camino put me in touch with his buddy, who is a professional sound person.
Oh no, you actually have real music from someone. We
I
don't
have
know who
very good music that is in this episode.
I'm
His
excited.
name is Mike with a Y.
Hey, Mike.
And I've asked him to let me know what the attribution is, and he said just use the track info. So let's find. Oh, it's called Marina. Nope. Save that for another. Do. Oh, Midnight Snack.
Midnight Snack by Mike.
It came out under his alias Faulty Machine Recording Service.
Faulty Machine Recording Service.
And I am going to credit George Madrid, like the city, also. He's going to send us some more tracks down the line. I've got some in the bank. Like he does professional sound battery for an actual radio station.
Oh, that's
pretty
dope.
cool. Yeah. He's excited to be on the show. I'm excited to not be using my own music. And Accuracy Third is produced by Accuracy Third.
And if you would like us to be excited about using your music on our episodes, or if you would like to excitedly chat with us to make an episode, because that's a thing we do now, hit us up, accuracythird@gmail.com. You can come on out to our brand spanking new studio in Oakland. We now have a gorgeous dedicated space just for recording. You don't even have to come through our stinky house. You can just go around the outside.
You don't have to risk seeing numerous sex toys.
Yeah, come over to the house. You can pee in the yard. You can breathe in the fresh paint smell of the studio for the next several months,
Yeah.
I'd say.
If you're allergic to cats, you don't have to risk being allergic to our cats. You can just come out to our studio where there are no cats. There
Yeah,
is
but we
just-
will have to strip nude before we get in the studio because their dander is on our clothes. So,
Well, and also because we always record naked. Have we never mentioned that?
yeah, just like the Bare Naked Ladies, there is one episode per season that all of us have recorded naked. And if you listen really closely, you can tell which one it is.
What's really interesting, though, is that not a single one of the guests have complained about it. I love our community. So if you'd like to come and record with us, clothed or naked,
Don't
us up.
really offer that because you absolutely know that someone will be like, yeah,
Look,
let's all do it naked.
if you don't think I would record an episode of this podcast butt ass naked with any given guest, you've got me confused.
Okay, I'm gonna strike out any given guest, but
Any-
like the rest of that is pretty
any
is
given
pretty
guest.
true. We got enough towels to line these chairs. I'm cool with that.
This can absolutely be a nudist burner podcast.
No, it can't. Do a naked episode. Like we're already pretty niche.
Come in the summer.
I didn't say it was just
Stop saying come.
for nudists. I just said that we would be nudists. Have to be a nudist to consume nudist content.
Okay, so if we have someone who really wants to be to record naked,
Oh shit, we're doubling down on this.
if we have someone who that's their real desire,
If someone does that, we will start an OnlyFans.
oh God, what disappointing OnlyFans content is the three of our asses sitting naked recording this podcast.
I have no idea, but someone is into it. And I bet they have $50 for us.
I'd edge to it. You don't have to come out to the studio to record with us. We can always record remotely. Don't be shy just because the Bay Area is far afield.
If it is, there are people who live in the Bay Area. And if you're one of them, you should come to the studio. You can pee in the yard.
This is your big self at the studio.
You can also pee in a toilet. We have two toilets, both with tushies.
Yeah, both of them work now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Kind of going back to like the insecurities of my youth that Burning Man like helped me shed. I think used to not ever being funny on purpose, and used to being like laughed at and rather than laughed with. And I remember one night I was wandering around just on my own, as you do sometimes amongst the city, and Camp Jenkytown was across the way from Midnight Poutine. We're having a bad joke off, and I remember that me and a friend of mine had like a bunch of crash jokes going back and forth on like text message or whatever. So I remembered a few of those, and I told those, and for the first time, like it felt like people were like laughing with me rather than like at me. And you wouldn't really have an opportunity to rip off a shitty joke you were telling with your friend, but Burning Man provided me that space, and I just experienced so much that year that I just couldn't see myself without it. Thereafter, it's an incredible flavor to add to your life, Burning Man.
Uncomfortable? Get on stage, I say.
After the first year that I went there, I remember I called it the most uncomfortable transcendental experience of my life.
Are there comfortable transcendental experiences?
My first year at Burning Man too, like it was very affirming in like various ways. Like I remember I found a kissing booth that year, and I had said to myself, I'm going to say yes to every opportunity that comes my way that doesn't threaten my immediate safety. And so I went to the kissing booth,
So
and
20% of opportunities for Burning Man.
I think I engaged with a significantly greater margin of error, But I found this kissing booth, and it was a guy and a girl manning this booth, and they had a menu of kisses. It was kind of like the Hug Deli, But I remember
the Kiss Bodega.
The Kiss Bodega, something like
the
that.
Hug Deli, but for mouths.
And they had you choose a couple adjectives to shape the execution of the kiss, and so.
Yo,
And
Ma,
so
I want the chopped cheese kiss.
I chose creepy and passionate.
Oh, wow. Geez.
You are a man after my own heart.
Yeah, creepy and passionate.
And then they fill you in that the client gets to choose the kiss, but they get to choose who provides it. And so the male of the pair steps forward, and he's got this very full beard and like this just very intense gaze. And I remember him coming up, and I'm like, well, okay. I don't know if this is a common thing, but I think I had a lot of like those sort of uncertainties of sexuality growing up, like being like, what if am I gay? I don't think so, but how do you know if you don't try it? And then he grabbed me, and then he planted this very like creepy and passionate kiss on me.
Yeah.
And it was like I knew in that instant that I was not destined to kiss a person with a beard. Never had that question again. I learned it in that moment. Now I can kiss a dude no problem because it's not as like symbolic anymore.